All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Abrakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders and teachers at Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. It's Brother Hawashai Zion. I'm going to do this real quick message video lesson. I'm not sure how long it's going to run, but some lady was trying to go back and forth with me about something, and I had to put her in her place because she was talking about, King Solomon or whatever, committing adultery, which he did not ever commit adultery. There's nowhere in the scriptures. All right. It was David. And remember this, that the Lord is the judge of those matters. All right. And he's the punisher of those matters. So ultimately now concerning King Solomon in the scriptures, this is what I'm going to go over. This is 1 Kings chapter 2, verse number 2. I wanted 11, my bad. 1 Kings chapter number 11, verse 2. So Solomon turns from God, right? Which God being Yahweh, the Most High. And, that's added in, by the way. All right, so let's just read the scriptures. This is where the sin was, okay? It says here, first verse, 1 Kings 11:1. But King Solomon loved many strange women together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Lord Yahweh said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall not go in unto them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. Be very specific, okay? And it ultimately tells you which ones, okay? Because look, Moses married a woman of the other nations, but it wasn't of the seven which the Lord told us not to deal with. Verse 3 says, And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines. And his wives, it doesn't say which ones, bear in mind. And his wives turned away his heart. For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. And his heart was not perfect with the Lord Yahweh his power, as was the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians. I can't say that. Salakia, my brothers. And after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. And remember, they were very specific about the nations. We're going to go back and read them in Deuteronomy 7, okay? And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord Yahweh and went not fully after the Lord Yahweh as did David his father, okay? So there you got it. Then did Solomon build an high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. So you see the nations being mentioned here, Moab, Ammon, okay, Zidonians, sheesh, I can't say that. And likewise did he for all his strange wives. Now the strange wives, it says here, strange wives which burnt incense and sacrifice unto their gods. This is why you got to be careful about that. And let's look at the word for strange. Okay. Foreign, alien, foreign woman, harlot. Okay. Maho. Strange in variety, degrees of applications. It says adulteress, different, wonderful, alien, foreigner, outlandish, strange, or it could also mean a harlot. Foreign chick, where it could be a straight up hoe. Let's look at the root word etymology. A disaster, strange, calamity. So it's in a negative sense. And let's see, from H5234, got to do a lot of digging. Keep going. This is the primitive root. Okay. To recognize, acknowledge, know, respect. Let's keep going down. Okay, here we go. Definition D2, to act or treat as foreign or strange, disguise, misconstrue. So basically a trick, man. Strong's primitive root, a primitive root properly to scrutinize, look intently at, with recognition implied, to acknowledge, be acquainted with, care for, respect, revere, with suspicion implied, to disregard, ignore, be strange toward, reject, resign. See, this is why this is very complex, the Hebrew. You can't just speed through this stuff. You can't just speed through the scriptures and like a bull in a china shop. All right, and double honors to the apostles and elders and teachers at Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, who taught us this knowledge and the way to break it down. Okay, so behave strangely, respect, behave, make self strangely. So strange acting chicks, all right, like a harlot who was a weirdo harlot. Basically, when Solomon was real old, they must have been fine as hell. You know what I'm saying? And he just didn't have that same vigor like when he was young. But that doesn't mean he's not the Lord's anointed, all right? Bottom line. And the Lord had mercy on Solomon. Okay? Ultimately, Solomon is Yahweh Shai if you can receive it. And that's why he came back to pay for not only his sins, but for the sins of the nation of Israel's elect. All right? And ultimately in the kingdom of heaven, all the children of Israel, after they receive their judgment. Okay? Because it's still mercy, ultimately, even after that. So, let me go back. Okay, so here's what it says. Okay, verse number 9. So after those strange women, those strange hoes, those harlots that were wives of his, or strange foreign, possibly harlot chicks who acted weird, which he shouldn't have been loving them chicks like that. But anyway, 1 Kings 11:9, and the Lord Yahweh was angry with Solomon because his heart was turned from the Lord Yahweh, power of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice. So think about that. See, this is it's crazy, man. Anybody is susceptible to falling. This is why you have to pray to the Lord for mercy. 1 Kings 11:10, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which the Lord Yahweh commanded. So that was the sin, okay? Going after the other gods. That's why the Lord warned about, in Deuteronomy 7, which women to stay away from, because they were enemies of the Lord, and their gods were enemies of the Lord. So if you get with their women, if you end up loving them, that's the problem, all right? Because that's when you get with those women and you love them, they're going to possibly incline, your heart will be inclined unto their gods, because of the connection between you and the woman is so strong. You want her so bad, you kind of ease up on being strict with the word of the Lord and the law, and we can't be doing that like Solomon did. Okay, so that was his error. He did not commit adultery, okay? This dumbass woman didn't understand that. And I pointed it out to her, and you know what she did? She ended up blocking me because it's above her pay grade. She's not supposed to be teaching either in a public setting. And that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to go report people and whatever you do. Because you people can't handle it. You women out there can't handle it. And she was an Edomite. And I let her know, she blocked me after I said, the Lord's going to exterminate you because you're an Edomite. And I gave her, Obadiah 1 and 18. She got the message, man. You really couldn't handle it. The prophecy says that you're going to be destroyed because you're an Edomite. It says nothing to do with you. You're a damn woman. Get out of here. You think you're going to talk to a man? Well, who the hell do you women think you are? And you're going to say that Solomon sinned committing adultery? That's a goddamn lie. And first and foremost, how many goddamn bodies do you got, lady? I guarantee that chick's body counts over 20 or 28, because she's an Edomite. Or maybe more than that, matter of fact. Some of these Edomites, man, low-key, man, they be going on these dating apps and they're meeting these different guys, like 3 or 4 of them a month, man. And they're sleeping with them at their house, man. They got these good jobs and they're sleeping with these guys committing adultery. You're the ones committing adultery. And you're a woman. You're not even afforded, not even more than one man. All right? And you would be lucky to get a husband, all right? You would be lucky to get a husband. Really be blessed. And I guarantee you probably left that guy. I was just about to say that and I went back and I was blocked. I was going to say, what's your body count, by the way? You sitting over here saying that Solomon committed adultery? And even if he did, which he did not, what the hell is it to you? How many times have you committed adultery? You see, the scripture says to take the plank out of thine own eye, cast the beam, out of your own eye before you, take the plank out of your neighbor's eye, roughly paraphrasing. Isn't that the pot calling the kettle black if he did, which he did not commit adultery? Okay? The problem was going after the other gods and his heart turning from the Lord, building the temples and things like that and trying to appease these women. That's what we cannot do, okay? So that's just what I wanted to highlight. And there was a judgment on Solomon, 1 Kings 11, and this is what the Lord decided, okay? He's the judge, man. 1 Kings 11 and 11. Wherefore the Lord Yahweh said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes which I commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. Notwithstanding, in thy days I will not do it for David thy father's sake. See, that's mercy. But I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. Howbeit I will not rend away all the kingdom, but will give one tribe to thy son for David my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. Okay, remember Jerusalem is a people force a place, right? It's the Israelites. But ultimately, it could be interchangeable too. All right? And then, that's what it is. And the Lord stirred up adversaries. Okay? God raises adversaries. Yeah, so it's in verse 14. And the Lord Yahweh stirred up an adversary unto Solomon. Hadad the Edomite, he was of the king's seed in Edom. So his son, for it came to pass when David was in Edom and Joab, the captain of the host, was gone up to bury the slain after he had smitten every male in Edom. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel until he had cut off every male in Edom. And Hadad fled, he and the certain Edomites of his father's servants with him, to go into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little child. And they rose out of Midian and came to Paran, and they took men with them out of Paran, and they came to Egypt unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, which gave him an house, and appointed him victuals, and gave him land. And Hadad found great favor in the sight of Pharaoh, so that he gave him to wife the sister of his own wife. Now, the sister of Tahpenes, the queen, and the sister of Tahpenes bare him Genubath, his son. So see, now, ultimately, brothers, now I want to go into another scripture, but there was basically controversy and all of these things, and that was the judgment. All right? And he was an adversary, verse 25, and he was an adversary to Israel all the days of Solomon, beside the mischief that Hadad did, and he abhorred Israel and reigned, Israel. Where is it? Where did it go, man? Reigned over Syria. He abhorred Israel and reigned over Syria. Okay. And that was the beginning of the end, basically, for that particular happy, easy reign or whatnot. The 40 years of peace Solomon had. So that was the punishment and the judgment, and it ultimately reflected down on all Israel. But now let's go to Deuteronomy 7 and 2, because the woman was talking about this and everything like that. Oh, you can't marry the other nations and everything. Well, let's read what it says. Deuteronomy 7 and 1. Because remember how many nations are there, right? There's 18 nations. And, Moses married an Egyptian woman. A Cushite woman, man. Let's check it out. Deuteronomy 7 and 1, it says, when the Lord Yahweh thy power shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord Yahweh thy power shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. And remember, it was specific who was mentioned in this. Verse 4, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord Yahweh be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. Now, the reason why, King Solomon wasn't destroyed suddenly was because out of respect for David. He was really a friend of Yahweh at that moment. He's a friend of Yahweh. Period. He's a man after the Lord's own heart. He really found favor with the Lord. He was steadfast, man. It's beautiful, man. I almost got the chills, So understand, those were the people not to make marriages with. Neither shall, now it said what it said. And, what we're supposed to do is destroy their altars and their images and cut down their groves, like it says, and burn their graven images with fire, not build them temples and stuff like Solomon was doing. That was his sin. That was his sin, okay? And that's that, loving those women and then erecting the temples and things like that. That was going off. All right, so it's very specific. Now, let's go to, let's look at the, I believe it's Numbers. I think it's 12. Yep. Numbers 12 and 1. So if you try to speak against, Israelites marrying other nations, now before you get into that, because remember, you got to be specific about what the hell you talking about. You can't just nilly-willy fire off at the hip. See, this blade here, these scriptures are very specific. So you can't just universally apply things all the time. You got to look into this and actually look at what you're reading, man. Okay? So what's it say? The murmuring of Miriam and Aaron. And this is Numbers 12 and 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. Now, did he sin? Let's find out. Verse 2. Okay. And they said, hath the Lord Yahweh indeed spoken only by Moses? Hath he not spoken also by us? And the Lord Yahweh heard it. See, because the Lord hears everything that you do, man. Contrary to popular belief, people don't understand that. They think they really alone in their house at times. That's funny as hell. Verse 3. Now the man Moses was very meek above all men which were upon the face of the earth. That doesn't mean he was a punk. He was just a very humble guy. And the Lord Yahweh spake suddenly unto Moses and unto Aaron and unto Miriam, come out ye there three, come out ye three unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out, and the Lord Yahweh came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and he will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all mine house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, meaning he gonna tell him plain. He's gonna understand, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of the Lord Yahweh shall he behold. Wherefore then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Yeah, because that guy's like, I don't want to say he's on par with the Lord, but he's up. He made him basically on his level in regards to the understanding. You know, pretty much like not on his level like that, but he gave him plainly what's going on. And there's a reason why, because Moses really was the first king of Israel, if you want to really get technical. You know, he was the first one to deliver this powerful message and was given the full understanding of this thing by commandment to Israel, okay, in this manner. So verse 9, it says, and the anger of the Lord Yahweh was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked up upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. And Aaron said unto Moses, alas, my Lord. You know, Lord means master. I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Let her, yeah, because they spoke against Moses, and that was off, because he married the woman. He didn't do none wrong. He married the Egyptian woman. So what? The Lord ain't chastised him for that. What you want to do, man? Who the hell are these, again, who the hell are these women to try to come at us for that, man? One, that's not your goddamn business. Number two, man, you got to keep quiet, man. Stay in your place as a lady. Don't talk to the men of the Lord, all right? Especially lying on King Solomon, saying that Solomon committed adultery and sinned. No, he did not. You're conflating two issues with David's issue, in which the Lord had mercy and forgave him for that, man. Because he didn't put him to death. Or should I say, the Lord ultimately did forgive him, but he, didn't put him to death for it. He punished him, but he didn't put him to death, because that's the Lord's prerogative. Just like, Donald Trump could pardon his people, and Biden pardoned all these guys. Biden pardoned his family. Well, the Lord could pardon his family too. How you like them apples? All right. Anyways, verse number 12, it says, let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he cometh out of his mother's womb. And Moses cried unto the Lord Yahweh, saying, heal her now, O power, I beseech thee. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days, and after that let her be received in again. So yeah, she had to serve time, man. She had to get basically put out. And Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days. And the people journeyed not till Miriam was brought in again. And afterward, the people removed from Hazareth and pitched in the wilderness of Paran. All right, so just a quick lesson. You got to be very specific on what you're talking about, and don't go talking, bad about the men of the Lord Especially, you better watch your mouth the way that some of you women out there talk about Solomon and David, talking about they were hoes and everything. Like, you better really seriously watch your mouth, man. There's a lot of people talking smack about King David and talking about Solomon and everything, man. Don't you know the Lord would jack you up, man? He said, touch not mine anointed and do my prophets no harm. So don't you sit up here when you got a body count that's longer than both of them, 10 fingers and 10 toes, man. All right? And that's a fact. And even more than one is egregious, man. That's worthy of death. And adultery is a punishment worthy of death, man. Because you have defiled your body. Who the hell are you to sit here and talk about the men of the Lord's anointed, man? Are you kidding me? So you people really got it twisted, man. And when the Lord returns here, and I'm telling you right now, just like what happened to Miriam and with Aaron, all right, where they had to ask for forgiveness, man, and ultimately Miriam was chastised because she was a woman. You really don't get to speak on the men of the Lord, all right? You are really not going to do that. That's why she got punished for 7 days, man, with leprosy. And that's going to possibly happen to this woman. Now, how dare you talk about that? You know who was arguing with me on a website, on stupid Facebook, And I don't even get into arguments like that, but it really pissed me off a certain thing that somebody said something. I was like, yo, wait a minute. It ain't cheating, man, if a man have multiple women. That's number one. And then this girl had the nerve to go and say, something about something to me, some scripture or something like that. And then, you know what I mean? Because I said that Solomon had multiple wives or something. And she said, yeah, Solomon committed sins and this and that. He was a sinner. Said Solomon was a sinner. And yo, watch your mouth, son. That's the Lord's anointed. Did you forget? How quickly did you forget? But guess what? The Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua did not forget. Okay? And he had ultimately had mercy on Solomon. Okay? And he gave him a chance through Yahweh Shai to make good on all of his, on what he went through, on his sins. All right? And Israel had to go through some things. And the reason is, man, and first and foremost, man, these women, the Lord didn't impart wisdom and knowledge onto the woman. So we're really not going to listen to you, especially in a public setting. And she had a smart mouth saying, yeah, you just got corrected by a woman or something like that. I know you're mad because you got corrected by a woman, but, thinking that we can't have wives of other nations. Did you not read this right here? Numbers 12 and verse number 2. Okay, verse number 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, hath the Lord Yahweh indeed spoken only by Moses? Hath he not spoken also by us? And the Lord Yahweh heard it. Now he was pissed. The Lord was mad. Because he was a meek and humble guy, and he wasn't doing anything wrong, and they were talking shit. And that's why the Lord came down out of a pillar of fire just to chastise her, man. Okay? And he was faithful in all the Lord's house, so it's like crazy, man. Listen to this. Verse number 4, and the Lord Yahweh spake suddenly unto Moses and and unto Aaron and unto Miriam, come out, ye three, unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out, and the Lord Yahweh came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all mine house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of the Lord Yahweh shall he behold. Wherefore then Were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Okay, because again, they were talking shit because he had an Ethiopian woman, which he didn't do nothing wrong, and he was a meek, humble man. Same thing like they were talking, this lady was talking shit on Solomon. And Solomon was the wisest king of all time, ever, that ever will live. You believe that? Because really, that was Yahweh Shai, man. You know, in the spirit. Before he was Yahweh Shai. But anyway, it's another video. Wherefore, then, okay, verse number 9. And the anger of the Lord Yahweh was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. Yeah, and they were ashamed, because they dealt foolishly ultimately, and they sinned by talking shit. Okay? So you can't be talking shit to the men of the Lord. Now, if you don't like that I said shit just simply is just a strong word, and it means dung, all right? It's written in the scriptures as dung, and it's a Greek swear word as well written in there, just so you know. All right? You don't like to get be cussing. It's not against the law, all right? It's not against the law to say the F word or shit, any of that. Well, people strain at a gnat and they swallow a camel. But anyways, so again, verse 11, and Aaron said unto Moses, alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly and wherein we have sinned. And yeah, because the Lord was dealing with him, Moses had some pull. And just like we could beg and beseech the Lord and ask the Lord to forgive either us of our sins or other brothers of their sins too. We can do that, and ask to heal brothers, because ultimately, sometimes, that is a result of sin, sicknesses and things like that. That could come as a result of sinning against the Lord. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. You could fall sick, fall ill, and you better, recount what you did wrong and ask the Lord for forgiveness and afflict your soul with fasting and prayer. Or go to the elders and have them pray over you and anoint you with oil, if you have them around you or elder brothers around you or any brother really, hopefully an older brother. But if not, do the best you can. But anyway, verse number, 12 ultimately says, let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed when he cometh out of his mother's womb. Yeah, so she looked white like you just born. You know what I'm saying? The baby's really doesn't have a lot of pigment when the baby's first born because it's just brand new. It doesn't really get to fully come into the strength and color, so that's why that flesh looks so weak. When you see people who have, leprosy on their hands look like they're frail. You know what I mean? And it's a curse, man. It's just a curse, man. It's crazy. Anyway, Lord willing, this was edifying. All right. If this is your first time watching the channel, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. All right. We're almost at the end of this thing. And you women better watch how you speak on King David and Solomon, man. And with that, shalom.